Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. We are about to make some creamy chicken pasta soup. This has vegetables in it, and I don't think it's going to take any time to make. I've not made this before. I just happened to see this recipe the other day, and the picture looks so good because it kind of looked like macaroni and cheese, but we're going to give it a try. So I already have the burner on underneath my stock pot here. I started to use just a big saucepan, but this starts out with about a pound of cooked chicken, and then you add 4 cups of chicken broth to it. I just don't want the pot too full. I'd rather have a pot that's too big than one that's too small. So we're just going to add a couple of teaspoons of olive oil in here. We're just enough to saute our vegetables. And I have my burner turned on medium. That's just now getting warm. All right. This is a half cup of onion, diced small, half cup of diced celery, and the onion's about that small too. Sorry, I didn't show it to you. And we have a cup of carrots that have been sliced into, I'd say, probably 1/3 quarter-inch slices and then quartered. So just tiny pieces of carrot. We're going to saute these until they're a little bit clear. In the meantime, I'm going to get my chicken out. This may be more than what the recipe actually calls for, but I cooked a couple of packages of organic chicken drumsticks last week because I was running a little low on chicken broth, and that's the only reason I cooked them. But then I have all this meat left over, and the meat is incredibly flavorful and tender, and you just don't want to waste it. So there's really not any giant pieces in here, but I'm going to chop it up just small enough to where they're not too oversized. I put out a video, I want to say it was last year, it's been a while back, but I put out a video on how to make bone broth, chicken bone broth, which is so incredibly simple, but you need it for so many recipes. You just got to have it on hand. So we will link that video to this, so if you want to check that out. But that's basically what I was doing, and I didn't feel the need to film it this time because I'd already filmed it before. But if you have a slow cooker, it sure makes it easy. And even if you want to make bone broth in the dead heat of the summertime, people who have watched enough of my videos know what I'm about to say. Put that slow cooker out in the garage, outside on a porch, outside in your sunroom, and don't let it fight your air conditioner. Just put it somewhere. Now this is in the summertime. In the wintertime, let it go full blast in the kitchen and help your heater along. But if you live in an area where it's hot and humid in the summertime, like where I live, you don't want anything heating up your kitchen unnecessarily. So just put that outside and plug it in and let it do its job. And I usually cook any chicken that I use to make bone broth with, which is normally chicken legs, chicken drumsticks. I'll cook it in 3 rounds. The first time I'll cook it low and slow for hours and hours and hours. Drain off the broth, and that will have the most fat in it because that's when all the skin and the meat is in there. Then I take the bone from the meat part. I save the meat, and we'll go in something like this. And then I'll add more water and cider vinegar to it. Cook it 2 more times, 2 more rounds, each time emptying the liquid out into canning jars and then place them in the freezer. And they really do keep a very long time. I put a date on them and just label it. I'll show you what my label looks like. Just the O standing for organic. I'm hoping you can see that. Maybe you'll see it better up here. Organic chicken broth. And this was on March the 7th. So I think that was last week. Today is the 16th of March. But I've had bone broth back at the very back of my garage refrigerator, which does get pretty cold back there, but it will keep for 6-9 months. It's not an issue. Put the lid on this to help it retain some heat, and those should saute pretty quickly. There's such a glare over here with this stainless cookware, so I've got lights up here. I have lights underneath the cabinet, but they're all so bright I almost hate to shine it on anything. I want you to be able to see what we're doing. My husband and I keep talking about I need one of those boom cameras like they have on those older cooking shows where it's right above the food. I think those are, it's such a cool angle, but I guess if I had something I could clip on my Vinahood, that would be handy, but I'm not always at the Vinahood. Now, I'm making this soup this morning. It's just now 11 o'clock in the morning. I just finished making a different video for chicken fried steak, so I'm kind of on a roll today. But this will either be for dinner tonight or tomorrow, just depending on what we want to have. Closer time gets for supper, I'll know what we want to have. But this will have time to just sit in the soup mixture for quite a while, and the vegetables will get tender. So if I don't really get them cooked all the way to where they're super soft right now, I'm not worried about them being hard and uncooked for dinner tonight. They'll get there. All right, the next thing we're going to put in there is our broth. Actually, I'm going to put the cream cheese in there now. So 8 ounces of cream cheese, and I've had this sitting out for a little while. Not long, but a little while. So it's a little soft. I have to scrape that paper clean. Or the plastic. I don't even think it's paper. It's not paper, it's not foil, even though it looks like foil. I think it's plastic. Okay, we also have 4 cups of our chicken broth. This is what I just showed you. So a quart of chicken broth. I want to make sure that stuff that's in the bottom gets, okay, I want you to see how gelatinous this is. This is from the first batch of chicken broth. But this, you can see all the pieces in there, but there's so much gelatin, if you will, in there It's nice and thick from all that collagen in the bones from the chicken legs. I just think it's the perfect piece to make chicken broth with. Sometimes I use whole chickens if I can get them marked down at the store, but that's not very often at all. But chicken legs are the perfect meat to use for chicken broth. I want you to be able to see this. Let me take this camera, and I'm hoping you can see what this looks like. So my vegetables are softening, but that cream cheese is also kind of incorporating into all this. And then we pour in our broth. That instantly cools it down, but it'll get heated back up in a minute. We'll also put our chicken in there. Now this has pasta in it, but the nice part about it is you don't have to cook the pasta separately. It all cooks in this one pan. So I'm all about something that'll all cook in one pan. I'm sure if you wanted to make this gluten-free, you could replace the little pastas in this. I'm using detali pasta, which are little teeny tiny rings. I'll show you what those look like. Oops. Do not eat that, Zoe. Okay, this is what detali looks like. Just teeny tiny pastas. But you could probably replace that with rice. And preferably something really good, like a good organic basmati rice. Basmati rice, if you're not familiar with it, a lot of people refer to jasmine as the rice to go to, but I am a huge fan of basmati. I was turned on to that a few years ago, and I opened up the package, and the friend that gave it to me said, "It smells like popcorn." And I said, "You're not just whistling Dixie. It does smell like popcorn." Well, I didn't think it would continue to smell like popcorn when it cooked, but when it was cooking, it smelled just like I was making popcorn. It was crazy. It was crazy good, too. So we buy a lot of basmati rice to cook with. I'll kind of go through stages where I use a lot of rice and then I won't use it for a while. But that's the kind I always buy. All right, last bit of chicken. See that gelatin in there? I don't know if you can see those shiny pieces like that right there. That gelatin on that chicken. Perfect. So the recipe calls for a pound of chicken. I'm pretty sure we bypassed our pound a long time ago, but that's okay. It gets used, and really and truly, that and the fact that it's good for you, I mean, that's what food's supposed to be, is good for you. So that's a winning combination. It's good for you and it all gets eaten. I don't like waste at all. All right, we'll get this back up to a point to where it's hot. We're also going to add to this a half a cup of heavy cream. So I'll use my cup that my carrots were in. So heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, that's what it is. Do not get sweetened whipped cream. That's not what this is. Okay, half cup. It was supposed to start raining but I just looked out there and the sun's shining, so that's always exciting to me. I do a lot better functioning when the sun is shining. My function level goes woo when the sun comes out. All right, so we're going to let this simmer, and I'm going to cover it up. So once that starts simmering, we'll come back. Then we're going to add our pasta, our spinach, and some salt and pepper. And then we're done. So we'll be out in just a bit. Okay, our mixture is starting to bubble a bit. I'm going to add a couple of cloves of garlic. Since it's in a squeeze bottle, I'm going to squeeze it into my spoon instead of directly into the jar because it could do that. Sometimes it gushes out. It won't stop. Stop! Okay, a couple of cloves of garlic minced. And we're going to add our pasta. This is 2 cups of detali pasta. Just any kind of little pasta. Orzo. I don't really know what all kinds there are. I know the detali is really small. A cine de pepe might be a little bit too small, but this should be good. Okay, we're going to put our temperature on about, that's about a medium, a little bit higher than medium. We're going to cover this up, and again, when we come back, we will add our spinach, salt and pepper, and we're going to put some Romano cheese in there too, so that should be good. I want to show you what our bag of pasta looks like, just so you'll know. And I got this at Big Lots. I was so excited. So, comes a little pound bag. Of course, I go back to Big Lots and they don't have any more. I might have told somebody it was a good price there, so probably did that to myself. Okay, I'm going to turn that heat down just a bit on that. We'll add our salt and pepper, about a half teaspoon of each salt and pepper. Okay, big tub of spinach because I have more plans for this, but we're going to put a couple of handfuls because it calls for 2 cups of chopped spinach. But let's see what this looks like. Just baby spinach. Because this has that cream and the cream cheese in it, I don't want it scorching or sticking to the bottom. That's why I keep coming back and stirring it. But I think it should be fine. Now this says chopped spinach. Honestly, spinach gets so small when you cook it anyway. I don't really know what the purpose is, but I'll follow directions. I'm a good rule follower, pretty good. Sometimes. This is why you need to look at pasta when you chop it up. I'm thinking that's dirt. Look like dirt on there to you? That looks like dirt to me. So, we'll put that one aside. I don't need any dirt in my soup. These are generally washed pretty good though. It says washed and ready to eat. I don't think the dirt necessarily is going to hurt me, but if it has sand in it and that goes in my mouth, I'm telling you, I will be aware of it. So 2 cups of just rough chopped spinach. Now, if you have frozen spinach, just go with it. I like the fact that it's in there. All right, I'm going to turn my heat down quite a bit now. Most of the liquid's been absorbed into this pasta, but since it'll sit in there for a while, it'll still get thicker. If this gets really thick, you can always add more chicken broth, more milk, more cream. It's a pretty soup, though. Okay, ½ cup of shredded Parmesan or Romano, whatever you have. Mine's Romano. All right, I think that looks good. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to put the lid on this and just let it come down to room temperature slowly, and the liquid will just keep absorbing into that pasta. Thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And try this recipe. The recipe for this will be in the description of the video, and just like all the rest of them. Thanks, guys.